of Pucks Across Borders on Total Apex Sports and Sports Addict Live, brought to you by the one, the only First Round Collectibles. Right now, with our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off whatever sports card you want in the entire First Round Collectibles store. There's an ongoing sale up to 50% off dozens and dozens of cards. And with our promo code Sports Addict, not only do you get 10% off of regular priced items, but sales items as well. Do the math. 20 becomes 30, 30, 40, 40, 50, 50, 60. You get the picture. Go to firstroundcollectibles.com today. Tell them we sent you with our promo code Sports Addict for 10% off sale and non-sales items. Hockey, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, boxing, whatever it is, they have it. So go to firstroundcollectibles.com today. That's the number 1 ST roundcollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And welcome to this Monday betting preview edition of Pucks Across Borders. Plus, I forgot to mention off the intro, we're going to do part 1 of our Tuesday betting preview, Frozen Frenzy. It is back. Did they do this on a Saturday last year? Or was it a weekday? I feel like a Tuesday is a weird day to do a Frozen Frenzy, but you know what? I'm here for it regardless. You know, who am I to complain?
Definitely was not a Tuesday. I feel like we would have remembered that and we would have hated it. We would have absolutely hated it. Not because of the amount of hockey, just because of the amount of talking we'd have to do.
Yeah.
Do need a break, right?
Yeah, I can't remember. So we're going to do part 1, the Toronto Maple Leafs and Tampa Bay Lightning, the only game in the NHL tonight. And then part 1 of our Tuesday betting preview we'll do as well. We'll do the first 7 games. We'll do the first 7 games and come back tomorrow for the 9 remaining games. I'm Mark Slaughter. As always, good to be here. First Round Collectibles. Promo code Sports Addict, 10% off. Total Apex Sports. You know the drill. I'm all thrown off by the extra Tuesday betting preview thing. I'm all my reads are all out of whack. But nevertheless, it is good to be here. We got lots to get into from the NHL over the weekend. 13 games went down on Saturday. 3 games went down yesterday. We're going to get into what we took away from all of the action. But first, as always, Andre, how you doing, man? I completely... So first of all, congratulations. Your Yankees are in the World Series. Very exciting. First time since 2009, so you must be over the moon. I also... We missed the... there's a phrase that's escaping my mind, but we buried the lead where it was a little rivalry weekend for me and you this past weekend. I didn't even think about it. Rangers, Leafs, you won. Eagles, Giants, I won. We're 1-1 for the weekend. Yeah. Completely overlooked it. How you doing, man? Happy Monday. Good to see you.
Happy Monday. We did overlook that. I'm happy we overlooked one of those things. Predictable outcome on Sunday. But yeah, doing pretty well. This is a hockey show, so I'll make this brief. Shout out to my Yankees. Shout out to the Liberty first title win last night in OT.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Special shout out to Malik Neighbors for pointing out during the middle of the play where Daniel Jones was supposed to throw the ball. He did throw the ball there, but it was late and behind Darius Slayton. So your Eagles and Saquon Barkley won the battle in MetLife. We'll get you back, though. We'll get you back.
If you are new to betting on the Nick Sirianni-led Eagles, you have to more often than not, I'm not here spitting out a true percentage. I don't know if it's 80%, 90%, 95%. I don't know. But I'm just telling you, if you're going to bet on the Nick Sirianni-led Philadelphia Eagles, you have to bet the narrative. Bet the narrative. You have to. He loves it. The whole Boston Scott thing, remember? He was like, I'm going to make sure this guy gets 2 touchdowns every time they play the Giants. Saquon Barkley comes to town. You knew that guy was going to rush his face off and get at least 1 touchdown, which I think he only got the 1. But anyway, we digress. All right, lots to get into. Like I said, over the weekend, I won't go through all the scores from Saturday, but yesterday, the Penguins got off to a hot start, let the Jets come back. You talked about this last week. The defensive woes for the Penguins are just insurmountable. I didn't even think that Nedeljkovic was that bad last night. I thought he did what he could, man. Some of those chances are juicy. Jets come back, win 6-3. The Avalanche beat the Sharks despite getting outshot 26-22. The Avalanche beat the Sharks 4-1, and the Kings beat the Ducks by the same score. The Ducks getting 15 shots on goal. And Dostal, I don't know if you remember this. Dostal played for the Ducks when the Leafs were in Anaheim last year. He made like 57 saves. I think the Leafs won 2-1. And Dostal made like 57 saves, was unreal. He was unreal yesterday too, making 33 saves on 37 shots. I got suckered into picking him up on my fantasy team, and he promptly lets 8 goals in against the Avalanche, and they let him in for all of them. So we'll see what happens. But those are the results from yesterday. Andre, what is your big takeaway from this past weekend in the NHL?
Besides your fantasy team's goaltending issues that are everlasting,
yeah, they're bad.
My takeaway, we're gonna get there one day. Don't worry.
Every year, dude, it's bad.
But my takeaway is, I have to do it. It's the Blues. They keep winning. They keep finding ways to win. They're 4-2-0 at this point. Big comeback to win their first game, big comeback to win their second game, 1-goal loss in Vegas, get blown up by the Wild. I expected them to be the Blues. I predicted all offseason that were bad after that Wild loss. I was like, okay, they're starting to shape into form. And then they come back home, 1-0 win in OT. They escape with 2 points. Then they play the Canes, a really good team, 2 more points, 4-3 win. They just keep winning these 1-goal games. And I don't think this team is good. I'm not budging yet. But if you're consistently finding ways to win, you're doing the right thing. So it is not luck all the time. Sometimes it's a skill. In St. Louis, at least early on, they've had that skill 4 times out of 6. So kudos to them. They deserve props. They've picked up 8 points when it could have just as easily been 0 in those 4 games. So they're doing what they need to do. And staying competitive in a central division that has some holes right now.
Well, and I'm glad that you mentioned the Central Division, because that's my takeaway, bro. I think there's 2 low-hanging fruit in the media world when you're looking at, narratives through 5 games in the season, right? And it doesn't matter the league, whatever league it is. It's the unbeaten team and the winless team, right? It's one of my favorite bets when you're betting futures in football before the season starts. It's what's going to be the last winless team in the NFL, or the last undefeated team. In the Central Division, the Winnipeg Jets are 5-0, I suppose, 10 points. They have been because what did we talk about too, right? Like we knew that their defense wasn't as good as last year, but still pretty good. Their goaltending obviously is unbelievable. Comrie made his return to Winnipeg yesterday for the Jets. But our big concern was, where are they going to get goal scoring from? Who is scoring goals for this team? And it turns out everybody. They have 24 goals and 8 goals against in 5 games. They have a goal differential of plus 16. Now, all four of their 5 games have been at home. So you take advantage of that, right? We know the Kings and the Flyers haven't been so lucky. So you take advantage when you have all these home games to start the year. But the Jets, 5-0 start the year, 24 goals. And I apologize for not checking this earlier, but I'm pretty sure. So they are tied for second in goals in the NHL. The Rangers have 24 and the Penguins, funny enough, have 24. And the New Jersey Devils have 27. The Winnipeg Jets, man, starting out hot. Everybody doubting them coming into this year. Everybody doubting them coming into last year. They were winning that division for almost the entire season, let it slip late. And the Winnipeg Jets coming out, and they're playing very, very well. That first period yesterday, they started very, very flat, and the Penguins jumped up to a 2-0 lead. And you look up, and it's a 6-3 final. Just no quit, and everybody's scoring for them right now, man. I mean, Scheifele's been scoring a lot. Connor's starting to get it going. But even names that you wouldn't necessarily consider, everyone's scoring. Now, the reason why I'm bringing up the Jets is because at the bottom of the Central Division is a team that we talked about quite a bit last week. The Nashville Predators are 0-5 to start the year, 0 points. Now, we've talked about Nashville and the troubles that they have had. In a way, it's somewhat predictable-ish. I don't know if 0-5 is necessarily predictable, but they made a lot of really big changes, right? Like lots of teams added 4 or 5 guys, but they literally added like 3 of the hottest names on the free agent board, right? They didn't just add some 4th liner. Stamkos, Marchessault, and Shea on the blue line. It's a mess down there right now. And they're getting a lot of shots. I believe they have the most shots in the league right now, but they're allowing about 5 goals per game, or 4 goals per game, 4 or 5 goals per game. They've lost only 1 of their 5 games. Did they lose by just 1 goal? And that was the very first game of the season. The last 4 games have each been by at least 2 goals. The last of which was against the Red Wings, losing 5-2 on Saturday. Now, the reason that this matters, sure, you look at the West, in the Pacific, the Oilers only have 4 points, and the Flames are leading the division with 9 points. But you know that the Flames are going to maybe not completely go away. I've talked about I'm actually pretty high on this Flames team, but they're not going to keep this pace of 4-0-1 for the whole season, right? The Kings finish up their road trip tomorrow. They have 8 points right now. They're sitting at top of the Pacific. Seattle, same thing. Now, logic would say that those 3 teams are probably going to regress, and the Oilers are going to get it together at some point. Right now, in the Central Division, the Winnipeg Jets and the Dallas Stars are tied for first in the division with 10 points each. And now you have the Nashville Predators with 0 points. Can you already kiss that division goodbye? Like, I know it's early, I get it, but you're 10 points back of the Stars and the Jets. That's already a really, really tall mountain. I feel like it's easier for a team to jump out to a 10-point lead and kind of fall back than it is for a team to be down 10 points and creep their way back up, if that makes sense. So that's my takeaway, man. The Minnesota Wild, 3-0-2, have not lost in regulation. The St. Louis Blues are winning games. Like, they don't look like, great, but they find ways to win. Utah is scoring a lot. They're also giving up a lot, but Utah is winning games. Chicago, we all know that they're going to be more competitive this year. And then you have the Colorado Avalanche, who have only won 2 games so far this year. I don't know, man. The more that I look at it and the more that I kind of break it down, the more I'm actually like kind of nervous about the Predators. And I know it's early and blah, 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 but 10 points is a lot to be down within the first week of a season, no?
Fumbling for the mute button there, 100%. 10 points even this early. Like, if you're, it's not like you're trailing. They're trying to catch up to, I'll pick on the Sabres here. Like, 10 points against the Sabres, you can catch up to that. It's 10 points against a team that's beating all the teams they're supposed to be. If you're talking about the Jets, like, they handled the Oilers, who have been just as bad to start the year. They handled the Sharks. They scored all the goals needed to against the Penguins. Like, they're doing what they need to do night in, night out. They're not allowing more than 3 goals. They're scoring more than 3 against every team that's struggling defensively in the net. And the teams that are playing solid, that's Jets hockey. That's what they want to do. You're not going to get an easy one, there's not going to be an easy path to catch up to or overcome the Jets if you're Nashville at this point, unless you sweep them in regulation. So yeah, it's very early, but 10 points is daunting, and they're 10 points behind them, but they're also 10 points behind the Stars already. So what do you do? They're 9 points behind Utah, and I know Utah, you just talking about their goaltending and defense has been struggling. They're prone to slumps, extended slumps and losses, but at the same time, They're just consistently picking up points. So, I mean, you look at this division right now, the only team you're kind of in the same stratosphere in, and that you could realistically catch without breaking a sweat is the Blackhawks right now, 5 points back. I don't even know if that's a given at this point, though, because they've been pretty competitive. So I know, like, they have talent, and it's not going to click right away. They're getting up the shots. We've seen with Carolina that shots isn't necessarily equivalent to success, though. They need to find something. They need to make it click quick because, time doesn't stop. And they're going to look up one day, and they're going to be 8 points back, and it's going to be New Year's Eve, and it's going to be like, oh, we haven't gained ground. We're not making the playoffs unless we have one of the best second halves in franchise history. So we're high on this team. I mean, they can absolutely turn this thing around. I don't want to make it sound like they're the Titanic, but they're steering very close to the iceberg right now.
Well, and I mean, they play Boston tonight, or tomorrow night, sorry, in Nashville. So you're home at least, but Boston, they're a weird team too, but they've been playing well. And then you play Chicago, which should be 2 points night, but it's not anymore. They play Chicago on Friday. So,
Yeah.
Man, I'm just saying, like, if they lose 3 of the next 5 games, we could seriously be talking about a problem. Now, I haven't looked. I was thought about this today, and I should have looked. Maybe you can look it up real quick over there, since my computer won't let me have 2 browsers and stream at the same time. And I wish that I worked for a company that I could chirp about that, but that's completely my fault. Last year, not going to the U2 concert galvanized this team. What concert should they go to? Who's in Vegas at the? I think 50 Cent has residency there now. No,
He does. Just
maybe that's
started.
what they need, man. When do they go to Vegas? When does
I was
Nashville
about to-
go to Vegas?
I was about to look up when they go to Vegas. Let me pull up the quick schedule. See. No. All right. And I gotta pull up the like whole map thing. This is gonna take a bit. That's a great question though. You know, Taylor Swift was just in Miami again. The Eras tour apparently is never gonna end. So
Nope.
that's an option. 50 Cent is in Vegas. I don't know if you saw Tyrese Halliburton's video congratulating him.
I did. That was the most bragging video without bragging I've ever seen in my life. Just, hey, it's 4 a.m. There's these 4 girls behind me. Don't worry about them. Congratulations, 50 Cent. Like, that was the most, like, not humble brag I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, their only trip to Vegas this year is in April 12th.
Ooh. Well, you know
The
what,
last
man?
road game of the year.
We're overthinking this because they're in Nashville. There's concerts in Nashville like every day. So maybe you just got to do a little home trip, like with the boys. Stay home.
You think Creed is touring or something?
Even if
like
they're not, I'm sure they play in Nashville at a bar once a week, right? I feel like
That's a group that would love some Creed, and just being told no would just you're gonna deny me Creed.
that's a story. That's a story, right? That you would expect. Like, yo, dude, one time I was in Nashville, we went to this random bar and Creed was playing. Like, I feel like that's a story that wouldn't even surprise you. Like, somehow that makes sense. I don't know why. I don't know. Check in some Carrie Underwood. Oh no, she's in Vegas too. I don't know. You're on your own, Nashville. Figure it out. Figure out what concert's going to galvanize the boys. Maybe Barry Trotz will do a little reverse psychology this time. Rather than say no, he'll just be like, you all need to go out, have some big boy beverages, and get it out of your system because this is a disaster. All right. We're 22 minutes in, and we got 8 games to talk about, so let's get into it.
Oh, quick shout out to Jordan in the comments. JC picking on Buffalo. He said facing Buffalo's like facing a disabled child. On top of other things. So
I don't know who that's more disrespectful towards. I think this disabled child, I think. But either way, I think there's a line somewhere, but I can't find it. I don't know where. I'm gonna stop talking about it because I'll cross it eventually.
Maybe they just need to. Is there like a Johnny Cash impersonator in Nashville? There has to be. Maybe they just need.
Is there a what? Sorry,
follow them around. Johnny Cash. That's what they need.
Isn't he no longer with us?
Is Johnny Cash still with us? I don't think he is.
I don't think he is. No.
Yeah, you get a impersonator though.
Oh yeah.
In Nashville, there has to be at least one.
Oh, I'm sure. There's lots of good things to do in Nashville, man. Eat, drink, listen to country music. Best musicians in the world live in Nashville. Just figure it out, whatever you do. Because I'm telling you, man, if they win 2 of their next 5 and Winnipeg wins 4 of their next 5, then it's maybe done. I don't know. But question for you. As we dive into tonight's action, not Dallas and Buffalo, don't know what's happening there. The Tampa Bay Lightning are right here in Toronto. The Maple Leafs are minus 134, while the Tampa Bay, they're 137 now, I beg your pardon, and the Tampa Bay Lightning plus 114. Plus 1.5 for the Lightning is minus 220, minus 1.5 for the Maple Leafs. Do you have it there? My screen just imploded on me. What's the rest of the odds?
Over under 6.5. I mean, we're using different books, but DK has minus 108 for the over, minus 112 for the under. Lightning plus 1.5, minus 225. Toronto minus 1.5, plus 185. and then plus 120, minus 142. So not too
Perfect.
far off.
No, perfect. Well, Andre, thank you for saving me there, bro. What do you see in this game tonight? The only game in the NHL. Oh, that was my question. What network is this on for you? Do you know? Is this on national TV?
It's actually funny you said that. I was in the NHL app earlier today, and I hit something I've never hit before. I'm still not entirely sure what I pressed on my phone, but it pulled up the streaming option. So I know for sure you can watch it on ESPN Plus. This is not an ad. NHL.com is telling me right now I can watch it on NHL Network, and they have it on FDSN Sun, Florida something Sun. I don't know, whatever Tampa's local network is. I've never heard of that before. Did they switch networks? Bally Sports used to have them, I think, so they definitely did.
Yeah, they did used to have them.
Yeah. You know what it is? All the Bally networks are now FanDuel networks. So it's FanDuel Sports Network Sun, which is
Is it really? When did that happen?
Yeah. That happened recently. I remember
it must have been recently.
People from Georgia were like, so we can't bet on sports, but we have to watch the Braves on FanDuel Sportsbook. I remember very vividly reading that online. But yeah, there are watch options. It is national in America if you have NHL Network.
Dude.
Or if you're a pirate.
That's the problem, man, is like I knew that Bali was in some serious money troubles like that I was aware of. But that's tough. Like that shows you it's 2024. We have no money, so a sports book is going to buy us and take over our content. Like that. That's like that shows you where we're at right now in the world of sports in 2024. The reason why I asked that is because tonight the debut was last Monday, and it's now going on every Monday here in Canada. Is Amazon night, Prime night, or whatever it's called, where there's one game a night that is featured only on Amazon Prime. And clearly, since there's only one game, that's the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I heard somebody complain about this because in the States, when you guys watch Thursday Night Football, that's only available on Prime, right?
Yeah, Prime. They stream it for free on Twitch. If you have a Twitch account, you can watch it.
Oh, do they?
So theoretically, you don't need to spend money, but yeah.
Yeah, because here it's just on TSN. Like I don't have to have Prime to watch it on Prime. But I heard someone complaining about this, and it's like, who doesn't have Prime? Like we all have Prime already, right? Like I'm not like buying Prime just to watch the Leafs, right? Or is that
just made an Amazon account for the first time this weekend.
Wow.
So I have Prime for a 30-day free membership right now. I'm going to cancel it before that 30 days is up, though.
Okay.
So I'm not on the Amazon train.
You won't cancel it. You'll forget it. You'll forget it, and you'll have Prime. You'll just have it for the rest of your life.
I don't shop enough for that. It's getting canceled.
Yeah, fair enough. I wish I could quit Prime, but I can't, and I don't even really shop that much. I just watch too much TV. All right, what are you looking at? We gotta roll. What are you looking at in the Tampa Bay Toronto Maple Leafs game right here in Toronto, Ontario?
Yeah, I'm looking at a great game. Both of these teams are playing pretty good hockey. Tampa did just lose for the first time though in Ottawa, 4-5 OT game. No, it was not an OT game. It was a tight game throughout, though. So, playing pretty well. 1-goal loss is your only blemish of the season. Can't really be upset about that. The Leafs, they just lost for the second time. I know it's a 4-1 final. But as you very astutely told me on Saturday, and as I saw through my updates from the game, it was 2-0, 2-1 for most of that Rangers-Leafs game on Saturday. Yeah. It was a very tight game. Those are two of the best teams in the league, and it was toe-to-toe, start to finish. So both teams are playing well. When you look at how they match up, you look at how you expect their games to go. The first thing most people would point at are the goal scorers, the power plays. You'd expect a lot of goals, and 3 of the 4 meetings last year had at least 7 goals. I'm rolling with the over on this one. It seems to be Tampa's last 2 games. It's been 7+. I know Toronto, their defense and goaltending has been stellar so far this year. Saturday was a rare game where they didn't score 4+ goals. I think they get back on track. I think they're better than this Lightning team. I'm going to stay away from that puck line, even though I like a Maple Leafs win. That minus 135 is looking pretty good. I don't think it's good enough, though, especially when the over's right there at roughly even money. So over 6.5 for me, keeping it simple on this one.
Yeah, I like that one. The only thing that's making me weird about the total is just like Vasilevsky's played. It can kind of go both ways. Like Vasilevsky's played every game so far for the Lightning, and he's playing again tonight. So like maybe he's tired. That's a lot of hockey. But they had a game canceled as well, so I guess there's one less game than everybody else. But Vasilevsky, aside from that weird game on Saturday, he's looking really good right now. Like he's looking like mid-season Vasilevsky. He's looking really sharp, and Stolarz has been phenomenal. He's been really, really good. He's starting for Toronto tonight. I'm telling you, this city loves them some Stolarz right now. He's the star, or at least one of them, of the season so far. And he only allowed 2 goals on the weekend, like you said. Score was 4-1, but 2 empty netters in the dying minutes. He only allowed 2 goals against the Rangers on Saturday. So that's the one thing that gets me a little weird about the total. So I'm really interested in this game as a Leaf fan and a Leaf writer, as a Leaf guy, if you will, because this is a game that the Leafs lose. This is a game that the Leafs lose. They love to lose games like this. They have for years, and it's a weeknight. It's a Monday night in Toronto. All the business guys are there. All the suits are there. I just don't. This is what history is telling me, that Tampa Bay wins this hockey game. That being said, this team really does feel different than they have over the last 8 years. And I'm really curious to see. They played the Rangers well, but Shesterkin was phenomenal, and their power play is brutal. The Leafs power play right now, dating back to game 1 against the Boston Bruins in the playoffs, the Leafs power play is 3 for 37. 3 for 37. It's awful. I can't remember what it is this year, but they've scored 2 power play goals this year, and they've had double-digit power plays. It's brutal. It looks bad. And I think Maple Leafs might lose and make Mark think God hates Toronto. I mean, you know what, man? Some things, I believe in God. I think some things you just do yourself. You know what I mean? I think the Maple Leafs make us hate Toronto. I think God loves Toronto. He's just waiting for sometimes you just got to do something for yourself. You know what I mean? Like God can't do all the work. You just got to do something for yourselves. I'm going to roll the dice here. I think it looks different. I think the Berube experience so far has been phenomenal. I think Stolarz has played terrific. I think defensively this team has been playing really well. I think the Leafs win tonight, minus 137. I like it a lot, but I'm just putting the warning out there that in Maple Leaf years of past, this is a game that they lose 9 times out of 10. So we'll see what happens. The one thing that I am curious about is Max Pacioretty. He has been scratched for the last 2 games. He has, He has 4 shots on goal through 3 games. Like I said, he's been scratched for the last 2 games. I just want to pull up his. My apologies. Technology is failing me today. 3+ shots for Max Pacioretty. Isn't even on the board. What are we doing? I'll pivot then. Bobby McMahon. Bobby McMahon has scored 3 goals to start the season. He was scratched in the season opener, and he's played every game since. He has 3 goals to start the year. I like Bobby McMahon at plus 154 to get 3+ shots on net. He had 2 the other night, 1 shy, and I like him to get 3+ shots on net. As far as goals and everything, you're not getting a lot of value with Austin Matthews. It's not too bad, minus 125. Nikita Kucherov, and I know I'm being long-winded here. I'll wrap this up. But Nikita Kucherov has scored in every game for Tampa Bay so far. He has 7 goals, 3. I think he had a hat trick in their first game, didn't he? Something like that against Carolina.
Yeah, he had a natural hattie in the third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he started out on fire. He's plus 130. I don't know, plus money for a guy who scored in every single game. I guess the books are thinking eventually he has to not score, but I'll take Toronto on the money line, and I'll take Bobby McMahon 3+ shots. All right, moving on to tomorrow night's slate. We're going to go through the first 7 games tomorrow. The 6 o'clock to the 7:45 slate, and then we'll come back tomorrow to do the 8 p.m. slate to the 11 p.m. slate. Vegas, LA, tomorrow night, 11 p.m. Get your coffee now, or your Red Bull, or whatever it is you do, and get ready because there's hockey till 2 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. Washington, Washington, Philadelphia, kicking off Frozen Frenzy. The Washington Capitals plus 100 on the road. The Philadelphia Flyers minus 120. Plus 1.5 for the Capitals, minus 260. Minus 1.5 for the Flyers, plus 210. The over is 5.5 at minus 128. And the under is plus 108. What do you got, Washington, Philly?
Yeah, the nationally televised game for tomorrow's Frozen Frenzy, Washington, Philly, 2 teams think they can make the wild card. Going to try to make it happen for the Flyers. Second home game of the year, and I don't know if you remember last year, they struggled a lot at home. They were a much better road team. Yeah, they went home on Saturday and just promptly got shut out 3-0 by the Canucks. After 13 goals and during their 4-game road trip, they pick up where they left off in Wells Fargo. Not a good sign, especially against this Capitals team that on the front end of a home and home probably starts Charlie Lindgren. They have a solid goaltending duo as is. Eliminate the 2 Devils games. They held Vegas and Dallas to 2 goals each. Pretty good defensive team, pretty solid defensive hockey. Not high on either of these clubs, but I think the Capitals can keep Philly's offense in check. The Capitals aren't overly reliant on the power play, at least not based on last year and the early returns of this year. So Philly's PK won't be the great neutralizer that it is against some of these better teams. I think the Capitals win a low-scoring game. I'm going to take Washington on plus money. I'm going to take the under.
I'm right there with you, lockstep. Washington plus 100 and the under at plus 104. I think Washington's one of those teams. I think they've been playing really well. They won 6-5 against the Devils over the weekend. And we briefly talked about how much the Devils have been scoring. For Washington to keep up with it, lockstep, and win 6-5 in OT. Multiple times during that game, Washington could have caved in and just let the Devils have it, and they didn't. came back. Now, despite giving up a 5 spot on Saturday, I also just really like this Washington goaltending long term. Been a little bit shaky to start, a little bit, but long term, Lindgren and Thompson as your 2 goalies, I think that's the perfect tandem. And I like Washington. Philly also, like, they go out on the road trip, pretty good start to the season, and promptly come home and get booed after not scoring on their first power play. Just the best. I love Philly so much. And if you've never been to a game in Philly, any game in Philly, but specifically hockey, it's an experience for sure. But I digress. I like Philly. I think they're going to be a good team this year. I just think this is a bit of a tough spot for them. Interesting enough, this is a nationally televised game for you guys tomorrow. It's also the only game on Wednesday. They go to Washington, and they play a back-to-back home and home on Wednesday. So look at Washington, Philly getting the national spotlight 2 days in a row. Good for them. All right, moving on. The Minnesota Wild are in Florida. Minnesota plus 126 on the road. We talked about this briefly off the top. Have not lost in regulation yet. Minnesota Wild 3-0-2 to start the year. The Florida Panthers minus 152 at home, plus 1.5 for the Wild, minus 205, minus 1.5 for the Panthers, plus 168. The over is again 5.5 at minus 132, and the under is plus 108. What do you got, Minnesota, Florida?
I'm back in the Wild. I'm taking Minnesota here. I don't really like what Florida's doing against the non-Boston teams so far. OT win against the Knights. OT loss against the Canucks right before that. Escaped the Blue Jackets 4-3 before that. I mean, their two losses sandwiched between the Boston games were both by multiple goals. 2 goals in Ottawa, 3 goals in Buffalo. Not really that high on them. So I'm going to roll with the Wild here as the road dogs. I like what Minnesota's been doing. You know, they're consistently scoring 3+ goals, barring the Jets game, but Winnipeg's doing that to everybody. They're winning games. They're not really allowing that many goals. The Seattle game is the only time they allowed more than 2. Just defensively, I think it's a low-scoring game. Minnesota can hang in there and pull out the win. Offensively, if it's a shootout, they have the firepower to keep up with the Panthers. Being on the road hasn't really daunted them. They're 2-0-1 in their 3 road games. So taking the Wild here, I'm taking them 60-minute line. I'm taking them to win at plus 124, plus 126, whatever your book has it. I really like what they've been doing. Player to watch out for. If you're looking for Minnesota, Kaprizov, 6 assists to go with his 2 goals. He has 8 points already on the year. He's a real good one. Zuccarello has 5 points, 3 of them goals, so he's another good one.
So, I mean, no disrespect to Minnesota or Florida when I say this. Just a little peek behind the curtain. My wife is out for a few minutes, and I'm watching my son. He was napping, and he woke up. So I apologize, Andre. Not the juiciest game to make you vamp for 2 minutes on, but you were still talking when I got back. So I'm assuming it was really good stuff.
Buddy mouth. Don't worry.
Yeah. Again, I love me some Minnesota Wild, but to just talk for 2 minutes without any backup, a little bit tough here. But anyway, where did you land on a side for this game?
Oh, I'm picking the Wild.
I'm with you.
Don't really like either of the totals, or I'm not confident on the total either way, but I like Minnesota here.
Yeah, I just think they've just played Like, well, I mean, I just think they play better. Like, I don't need to get too deep with the terminology. I just think they play better. I think Minnesota's come out to play. The goaltending's been pretty solid, which has been kind of a question mark for them over the last little bit. And the Panthers, I just think I'm getting 2021-22 Tampa vibes. Just like, we won the Stanley Cup. We're not trying to crush everybody. We're just trying to stay healthy and get to the playoffs. And then that's when the magic happens. You know what I mean? I'm getting I know we're only 5 games in or whatever it is for Florida, but I'm just getting those vibes. And I just think minus 152 is just too much based on what we've seen over the course of the last week and a half. So I'll take Minnesota plus 126 as well. And that total is weird. I don't know. That's like, I feel like minus 4.5 in football is like the Vegas zone where like you're just scared to bet it because like Vegas is just going to steal your money. Like minus 4.5, you know what I mean? Like minus 4.5 is a weird area. And I feel that way about the 5.5 total. It's just bizarre. Either way you bet it, you're probably screwed. Yeah, sorry, I'm reading the chat. Jordan talking about it. Dude, those Minnesota fans, man, we can deep dive into this another day, but there's some similarities between the Leafs and the Wild, just as far as like playoff heartbreak goes. Like, every year they make it, and every year it's a one and done. And I'm rooting for that city, man. But yeah, I take Minnesota plus 126, and I'm going to stay away from the total. All right, moving on. Tampa Bay right back at it tomorrow night in New Jersey. The Devils minus 162. Lightning are plus 134. Plus 1.5 for the Lightning is minus 178. Minus 1.5 for the Devils, plus 146. The over is 6.5 at minus 110, and the under is the same. Andre, what do you got? Lightning, Devils tomorrow night.
Yeah, the Lightning thing threw me off. I forgot that there were teams actually playing today. I thought they were just all playing tomorrow. Second half of a back-to-back is kind of tough because I like what the Lightning are doing right now, but this Devils team, like you've said already a few times, they're just scoring so much, and it's not really surprising. It's their identity. It's who they are. They're playing pretty well on their own. That loss against the Capitals was a bit disappointing, but other than that, a loss to the Hurricanes, loss to the Maple Leafs, you can live with that. I trust them to score more, especially if Vasilevsky's not in net. They're going to have fresher legs. They're going to be at home. Markstrom's been solid. Their goal prevention just in general has been solid. A big reason why they're 5-2-1 right now compared to last year's team, which probably would have been like 2-5-1 at the same point with the same offensive production. So I'm going to take the Devils here. I think I might take that puck line for the extra juice at plus 150. Just the fatigue factor and how they're playing. They've gotten that much respect out of me already. Definitely taking the over, though. Minus 120, yes. 6.5. I think that more than anything is the lock for this game. With these offenses, it has to be. And if Vasilevsky's not playing, you could probably bet on Jersey to score 4 or 5 on their own.
Yeah, 100%. I love the over in this game too. Listen, man, last year, Johansson, he held it down long enough for Vasilevsky to come back and for them to make their way into the playoffs. But he was a gas can last year. Like, it was not pretty at times. And I'll take that over. Now, he hasn't played yet. So this can kind of go one of both ways, right? Like, it can go either he hasn't played yet, he's fresh, he's ready to go, or he hasn't played yet and he's going to get completely lit up, you know? But I love the over here as well. Both of these teams can score, like you said, especially the Devils. I'll probably stay away from a side. I like the Devils -1.5 here, but this has a 5-4, 4-3 game written all over it, in my opinion. And I'll probably just stick with that total at over 6.5. And I gotta say, man, I like watching this Devils team. I like keeping my eye on Sheldon Keefe, man. I feel like, like my girl and I, we broke up and like we weren't good together. We needed to go our separate ways, but you still care about her. You know what I mean? Like you still want to check in on her and see how she's doing. That's how I feel about Sheldon Keefe. He needed to leave. It wasn't right here anymore. We had our fun, but he needed to move on. But I still just want to know how he's doing. I just want to check in, root for his success. I'm not wishing for his heart to get broken or nothing like that. I just want to see him do well. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. So I'll be watching that game tomorrow night, or maybe I won't because the Leafs play. I don't know. I'll make that decision later. If you want to keep the analogy going, I won't watch them tomorrow because my girl is going to be over here. The Leafs are going to be over, so I can't, eye on both. Anyway, this analogy is broken down a while ago. We're moving on to the Dallas Stars and the Buffalo Sabres. Dallas -154 in Buffalo, who are +128. Yeah, the chat. Wow, Brady. That's wild stuff, man. I hope you're doing okay. Check out this chat. I love it. If this is the same Brady that was on when I was on Gabe's show, then shout out to Brady. But that's quite the message in the chat. But anyway, Buffalo 128. We were talking about Nashville. At least Nashville was projected to be good, and we still think they can be good. But Buffalo, anytime you say Buffalo, this is the year, everyone just says, oh my goodness, here we go again. Buffalo, like I said, +128. The over is 5.5, -140. All these 5.5s. The under 5.5 is +114. If the over 5.5 is -140, shouldn't it just be 6.5 at that point? We're probably going to get there by the time the puck drops tomorrow. +114 for the under, -1.5 for Dallas, +160, +1.5 for the Sabres, -194. Andre, what do you got? Dallas, Buffalo. And why is Dallas just going to spank the brakes off of this Buffalo team? I'm already out, dude. I'm done.
Yeah, so I don't really want to spend too much time on this game, so I'm going to more just chastise you for spoiling market secrets here. You take the +140 until they make you not take it. Just lock it in.
The -140?
Yeah. Oh, no. I think you said +140.
No, it's -140.
Oh,
no,
push it up. What are they doing?
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
if it's -40, just make it
under
half.
You gotta, my ears weren't sharp there. I apologize.
Oh, you're good.
That's why I'm a Giants fan, and I don't know why I even did that to myself. Dallas is gonna roll them next game. 60.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Although I will say, I haven't looked to see if there's some props out here. Give me some Wyatt Johnston +200 and give me some JJ Peterka, one of the only good things about this Buffalo team, at +240. I love this Peterka guy, man. I think he's a budding superstar. I love watching him play, and he's +240 to score a goal tomorrow night. So give me JJ Peterka to score for the Sabres at +240 and Wyatt Johnston to score +200 for the Stars. All right, now we get to talk about a couple real hockey teams back to back here. The New York Rangers continue their Canadian road trip, and they are in Montreal to take on the Canadiens. The Canadiens at home +164. The Rangers -200 on the road, -1.5 for the Rangers, +126. +1.5 for the Canadiens, -152. The over is 6.5 at +110. And the under is minus 134. Andre, what do you got, man? Good vibes in New York right now. Kind of, sort of. Anytime the Yankees win and bring you up, you're one of the football teams lets you down. But what do you got? Rangers, Canadians.
Well, it's a pretty good thing the Knicks play tomorrow night as well. I'm taking the Rangers. I mean, I take the Rangers all the time. We knew that was going to happen. This Montreal team, they're feisty, kind of scaring me away from that puck line, if I'm being honest. But what the Rangers have done so far, with the exception of that one weird weekend night against the Utah Hockey Club, is just kind of dominate. I mean, they handled the Leafs, and, it was a tight game. Maybe one or two bounces changes that. But to have a lead pretty much wire to wire against the Maple Leafs with what they're doing right now in Toronto, pretty impressive. They just decimated Detroit twice in a row. 6-0 win to open their season. Honestly, the road differential right now was 15-3, so they've been even better than they were at the Garden. I'm going to take that puck line. I know Montreal's feisty. I do appreciate what this team is doing. I do love Marty St. Louis as a coach. I think they have a bright future. But I think the Rangers are going to go into the Garden and do what they've been doing to everybody else and just steamroll them.
I'm right there with you, man. I think that the Rangers win this game tomorrow night as well, by at least 1.5 at plus 126. Like, everybody, if you watch the show, even just for the last couple of weeks, you all know how much I love this Montreal team. But yeah, man, they're still the Canadians. They're still going through the I would say the back end of the rebuild. I don't think this rebuild is going to last too much longer. But the Rangers, they're on a mission, man. I think they're on a mission. I said the same thing last year, and they made it within 2 wins of the Stanley Cup final. And I mean, that was the cool thing, watching them on Saturday night, all fandom kind of put aside here. Like the Leafs played well, and I thought that the Leafs played with the Rangers, but there was never a point in the game where it's like the Leafs are dominating and Shesterkin is just completely taking over this game. Shesterkin played very, very well, and he may very well be the reason why the Rangers won, maybe. But like the Rangers, they were never just giving it to the Leafs to take over. Like the Rangers had full control of that game. And I think that they win tomorrow night as well. Yet again, though, a couple props from the losing side. Cole Caulfield has started off extremely hot this year. He has played really, really well. I don't have his goals in front of me, and quite frankly, my phone is just going insane, so I'm not even going to look it up. I'm getting a new phone tonight. Nobody cares, but I'm solving the problem. For you, the audience, really. Cole Caulfield, plus 165 to score tomorrow night. I love that bet. I think he's played really well to start the year, and I'll take him at plus 165. They don't have it up yet, but that shot market, I really like Suzuki to get 3 or 4 plus shots tomorrow night. So keep an eye out for that when it comes up. All right. Lucky me, lucky you. I know all the listeners are so happy that I get to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs. 2 games in one night. What's up, buddy? Yeah, you can't go on the trampoline right now, okay? Just parenting in real time. No big deal. Minus 230, the Toronto Maple Leafs in Columbus to take on the Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets plus 188. The over 6.5 at minus 112. The under minus 108. Minus 1.5 for the Maple Leafs is plus 108. Plus 1.5 for the Blue Jackets, minus 130. Andre, what do you like, bro? Maple Leafs, Blue Jackets tomorrow night in Columbus.
Yeah, so second half of a back-to-back, right? And Toronto's going to have to fly down to Ohio. I know it's not like a crazy distance, but I think fatigue's going to be a factor here. And the Jackets are doing just enough, especially offensively, where I think I'm going to stay away from the puck line. I would take the 60-minute line. I do fully believe the Leafs are going to win. But I expect just a high-scoring game, and maybe, 5-4, 6-5, whatever, is the final. I just, it's going to be tough, I think, to create distance, especially in this building with the way they're playing right now. Now, their defense and goaltending has been a struggle. They've allowed at least 3 goals in every game. So the Leafs are going to have plenty. I think Toronto's team total for goals, whether it's over 3.5, over 4.5, whichever has the better bang for your buck, if you will, is the best way to bet this game. But I do like the over as well. I like the total more than picking a side, even though I fully expect Toronto to win. It's just more of a value thing.
The only thing that is keeping me away, not keeping me away, because I do like the -1.5 here for Toronto at +108. I think the Leafs of old have kind of played really well against the teams that they not necessarily shouldn't beat. They just lose to Boston. That's just pretty much the Leafs over the last few years. They lose to Boston all the time. They beat or at least play well against really good teams. And they sometimes have just ridiculous games against teams that they should beat very handedly. And I just feel like those things are just getting cleaned up here a little bit. A drinking game. I know I mentioned a drinking game the last time. I don't even drink, so I don't know. Maybe there's something going on here. But when you watch the Leafs, take a shot every time they show Berube just yelling F-bombs at the Leafs players. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Very fresh. Very. It's awesome. I like the Leafs -1.5. The only thing that's making me a little bit hesitant is that Stolarz is playing tonight, which means that rookie goaltender Hildeby is as of now scheduled to start tomorrow, but there are rumors that Joseph Woll might be back for tomorrow night. Now, Joseph Woll is a very good goaltender, so that could mean nothing, could be fine, could be seamless. But he also hasn't played yet this year, and he only played, I think, 4 periods during training camp. So the goaltending situation for the Leafs kind of unknown. Hildeby played terrific in his first game in the NHL against the Devils last week. But the goaltending's still kind of up in the air. But I do like Toronto -1.5. That's just one little disclaimer that I will throw out there. But that being said, I do think that the Leafs are going to get a bunch of goals on this Columbus team. All right, moving on. The last game that we are going to cover today is the Detroit Red Wings and the New York Islanders. This puck drop is at 7:45. Come back tomorrow, and we're going to talk so briefly about the Tampa Bay Toronto game tonight, and then dive into the remaining 9 games on the slate tomorrow for the NHL's Frozen Frenzy. +126 are the Detroit Red Wings. On the road, -152 are the Islanders at home, +1.5 for Detroit, -194, -1.5 for the Islanders, +160. The over 6.5, +106. The under is -130. Andre, what do you got? Both teams that I just do not want to bet right now. What are you thinking, Detroit and New York Islanders?
I'm right there with you as far as not wanting to bet either of these teams. Good Lord. I have more hope for Detroit long term. They did pick up their second win on Saturday. Granted, they've only beaten one team this year, but 5 goals in a road game. You got to start somewhere. You got to pick up the pieces. And the Islanders, they have 2 wins. They have 2 OT losses. This is looking a lot like last year's team, which was painfully mediocre, even if it got them into the playoffs. Their offense has been very inconsistent. They have they've balanced, 2 shutouts with 3 games with at least 4 goals. 4-0-6-0-4. Following that logic, they don't score in this game. They're going to score against the Red Wings because I don't expect the Red Wings to shut out anybody again anytime soon. I'm sorry, Nashville, that you did get shut out by them this year. That's kind of embarrassing. But I expect the Red Wings to play well enough defensively, build on what they did last game, and pull out the win. So I'm going to take Detroit plus 126 here, plus 125, whatever, the books have it as. Either right now or tomorrow, wherever you're looking. I think the Red Wings are a better team. I think they have a higher ceiling. And for what it's worth, I think they're slightly more consistent and trustworthy, although that's a very low bar that they're tripping over.
Yeah, I think that I'm with you. I don't really know. I don't.
We need a sign that just says, I don't know.
I don't know, man. Yeah, dude, this is the thing, bro, is that this Islanders team, like you said it, dude, that's exactly right. I can't remember the exact order of goals, what you just said, but basically scoring 4+ goals every other night, and the nights where they don't score 4+ goals, they score no goals. That's pretty much the Islanders. Like, they're just, who knows what you're going to get from this team. I think I'm just betting the over, dude. I think that's my favorite bet in this game is the over. I do think the Islanders will be able to score goals, and I do think that the Red Wings will also be able to score goals. Over 6.5 at plus 106. The plus 126 money line for Detroit, I'll probably talk myself into by the time puck drop comes tomorrow. But that over feels overly comfortable, if you will. I want to speak to Jordan, what he's saying here in the chat, but that was like 5 minutes ago. So we'll do our best bets, and then I want to speak to what he's saying here in the chat. But yeah, I'm going to take the over for sure tomorrow night. And I also feel like, just real quick, that over 6.5 at plus 106, I feel like that's going to be bet down by tomorrow. So if you like that bet right now, I would bet it right now, because I don't think you're going to get better odds than plus 106 on that over tomorrow. So that's my 2 cents. And we'll move on. Here we go. A little same game parlay for our best bets. Brought to you by the one, the only First Round Collectibles. Right now, with our promo code SportsAddict, get 10% off whatever sports card you want in the entire First Round Collectibles store. They have an ongoing sale up to 50% off dozens and dozens of cards. And with our promo code SportsAddict, not only do you get 10% off of regular priced items, but sales items as well. Go to firstroundcollectibles.com today. That's the number 1. STRoundcollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans. Andre, what do you got as your best bet in this game tonight?
I'm kind of between 2 here, and they both involve the same player. I think I know where I'm going to go. And I do. Nikita Kucherov. It took a while. I had to think about it. Nikita Kucherov, 9 points in 4 games so far. One of the best, not just players, but particularly scorers in the world. He's off to a terrific start, averaging almost 2 goals per game, not to mention his 2 assists to go with it. Surprisingly, only 2 points on the power play so far. The point being, great player. I don't even think he's been at his best yet for all the production he's provided. He is plus 105 to get at least 2 points tonight, and I like it. So Nikita Kucherov over 1.5 points.
I want to throw this out real quickly because I have to clear this bet. I already have a bet in my FanDuel, and I have to clear it out before I enter in the same game parlay here. Derrick Henry to score a touchdown and William Nylander to score a goal, plus 278. I don't know why I have that there, but I do, and I kind of like it. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we should make that Derrick Henry to score 2 touchdowns because he doesn't score just 1 anymore. When was the last time Derrick Henry scored only 1 touchdown? I don't think that's happened in weeks. No.
Week 1, right?
I think so. All right, so you have Kucherov.
Oh, no. Okay, it's irrelevant. I'll tell you later.
Okay. All right. For this game, I think I'm just gonna go chalk here. Actually, you know what? No, forget that. Leading goal scorer for the Toronto Maple Leafs, tied as the leading goal scorer, that is William Nylander, is plus 160 to score tonight. Because it's the same game parlay, that is the bet that I'm going to choose. But I am going to throw this out there. I mentioned him earlier. Bobby McMahon, he has scored 3 goals so far this year. He's only played in 4 of the 5 games. He is plus 430 to score a goal tonight. And he has scored in half of his games. Really good goal scorer. He's plus 430. So if you're looking for a little long shot bet, plus 430 for Bobby McMahon is one that I love. But I will take William Nylander at plus 160.
Your Nylander odds are so much better than mine. DK has Nylander anytime goal scorer plus 135. So,
oh wow,
you're killing me there.
What do they have Matthews at?
Minus 135.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Getting cooked.
All right. Family play. What do we like? Are we gonna do it?
Are we gonna do it?
Are we gonna do it? Do you want to do it? I don't know if we should do it. Maybe we should do it. Do you want to do it?
I'll do it. I'm not scared.
I am terrified. Well, let's do it. Toronto Maple Leafs money line minus 137. Let's just do it. Why not? Roll with it. I mean, you like the money line better than I do, so let's roll with it.
I'm gonna just guarantee that your parlay odds are better than mine. Mine are plus 800 though, so I'm not that mad about it.
That's fine. Yeah, I got plus 862. Kucherov 2 points. Nylander anytime goal. Maple Leafs money line plus 862.
I love it.
Awesome. Absolutely love it. Good stuff. Great show today, Andre. Appreciate you, man. Everybody watching, appreciate you. I will say this. I hope the Blue Jackets ride a win for Johnny. I got to say this, and that was the comment that our boy Jordan put up. I will say this, and I said this last week, I think, too. The tributes that they've been doing for Johnny have been phenomenal. They've done a really, really good job. And I really did think that this was just so close to home. This team has lost 2 teammates in the last 3 years. And I just really thought that it was going to really weigh on them. And they've actually played pretty well. They've played really well to start the year. They've been scoring a bunch of goals. So I really like what they've been doing for that. And they've been playing well. So, hey, we're in for a good one tomorrow night. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you. Don't forget, tomorrow we will be back here earlier than 4:30 most likely, but we will be back here and we will be going through the second half of Frozen Frenzy in the NHL tomorrow. Don't forget, first round collectibles, promo code SportsAddict for 10% off your order. And don't forget, the wonderful company who lets us use their Twitter feed, we will be on their YouTube in due time. Total Apex Sports. Go check out all their great content, especially the hockey content going into Frozen Frenzy tomorrow. We appreciate you. Good luck on your bets, and we will see you tomorrow.